I know some things like in the title can be triggering, especially if it's some things you haven't kind of like came to grips with. But I'm telling y'all this stuff just because I feel like it's actually going to help y'all out, so I actually give you all some insight, right? So after being a videographer for the past, well, let's say like 4 or 5 years now, there's some things that I've come across, and even with behaviors within myself or other videographers that I run into, I've noticed some similar things, and like either why I'm not growing as fast as I would like to be, or maybe why they aren't growing, or maybe they haven't grown to even the position where I'm at. So I've kind of compiled a couple of things that I've noticed over the years. I'm like, hey, these are some of the key things, or some of the key things I've noticed why people don't really grow too much as a filmmaker, is because they're kind of like stuck in certain ways. So I got my notes here. Shout out to the Z Fold 6. I will be doing a review on this, but I will also be breaking these up into like little short reels. So if you want to kind of like get the little shorter versions of these, you can follow me at IG and TikTok at Brookssmedia with 2 S's. If you don't have the S, you ain't spelling it right. One of the first things that even I would say I noticed within myself and other videographers that I come across is that they don't take criticism well. And sometimes this actually does hinder you from growing. So maybe if you're actually showing your work to your peers and they're like pointing out little things here, little nuances, to you, they may be small or they may be big. However, if you're blocking them out, not receiving what they're saying, and thinking that the only way that you're doing your work is the perfect way or the best way to do it, then you're not growing, right? You have to understand that your work can be, like, there's levels to what you do. So yes, I would definitely take advice from somebody who's actually in the field, right? Like, I'm not gonna be sitting here getting advice from somebody on how to get a job. You ain't got no job. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you got to use your spirit of discernment and understand that if you actually are showing your work to your peers, this, you know, if there's people that you rock with, 9 times out of 10 they're actually telling you this because they actually want to see your work better, right? So if you actually want to grow your work and kind of, you have to step outside your own box and put a different pair of glasses on to kind of see where in the areas that you can improve. Because if you're still like not getting the type of clients that you want, that means there's probably something that you're not doing correctly. And that's not even necessarily to say it's a bad thing, like, you're learning. So give yourself that grace. Now, reason number 2 why you're probably not growing is because you're taking every job. And what I mean by that is, like, you're taking jobs that don't even serve your purpose or the type of video work that you want to do. Like, prime example, like, I don't shoot baby showers. And then I don't even do music videos like that for real no more. I don't really do birthday events, like stuff like that. Like, that's not even something I want to be known for. Now, keep it a buck with y'all. Depending on the season and depending on how my pockets look, I will shoot a certain job if I know it's gonna like have like a quick turnaround, a quick buck. However, like, I don't promote that type of work on my page, right? If you look at my page, I'm only promoting like educational stuff and corporate work and documentary. That's the only thing that I promote on my page because that's what I would be known for. If you are a videographer, you're taking on baby showers, you're doing music videos, you're doing social media ads, like, it's dope to kind of have like a lot of stuff in your warehouse, right? But if I was to come to your page, it's kind of like Walmart, right? Or like, if you having too many items on the menu, you end up choosing nothing. So if you give me too many options, I end up choosing nothing. Like, I don't know if I want to go to you for a music video, I don't want to go to you for a baby shower. It's like, no. If you kind of narrow down and niche down what it is that you do, people have a easier time finding you and the type of clientele that you're looking for. You have multiple examples of that work versus them having to go through your whole catalog of, like, if they're just looking to do an interview, they have to go through your baby shower, they got to go through your music videos, they got to go through your weddings, they have to go through all this stuff just to find out what you do specifically. This is limiting your growth because you're not even getting a clientele that you want to get because you have too much stuff in your page or too much stuff in your portfolio. Narrow down your portfolio, narrow down and niche down what it is that exactly is that you do, so you can find a clientele that best suits you, represents your brand completely. Now, number 3, just to add like a little tidbit, we are shooting some ProRes RAW. I'm shooting some ProRes RAW because of practice, and that brings me to my 3rd point, which is you're not practicing. And I could be sitting here telling y'all that, but I'm telling myself this too. This is exactly why I'm shooting ProRes RAW, just so I kind of get a handle and a feel for if I decide to shoot a film entirely in ProRes RAW, how it's gonna look, the bandwidth, the storage, all that. Is this something I can handle, right? Is this something I even want to do, and is it even worth my time? So I'm very curious. So right now, comment down below if you've watched my previous videos, if you're seeing a difference in me shooting in ProRes RAW. Is it like the details like super crazy? I really would like to know down in the comments below. But if you're not practicing, right, it's no different than if you're a basketball player, you're not putting shots in the gym, you're not gonna get better. You actually have to shoot more and do more of what you're doing. Don't let, you know, the fact that you've turned your passion to a profit derail you from your passion altogether. If you're only picking up your camera for a buck, then I mean you're not picking up your camera just for fun, and then also trying to like learn and educate yourself. Educate yourself and practice. You gotta put up more shots in the gym. B. If you are seeing that your work is like not growing at all, it's because you probably not, you know, you're not shooting in the gym. If you know that your 3-point range is still the same that it was from last year, then that means you're not sitting here testing your range. You gotta test your range, test your limits. See what it is is that you're good at and see what like whereas you can grow and have better experience in what it is that you're doing. So if you're somebody who who really think they want a camera that shoots raw, if you think you're a person who really wants like a Red Komodo or Ari Alexa, something like a raw workflow, but you're not shooting in raw with a camera that you already own, then how do you know that's something you even want? The storage files might be too big or whatever the case is, right? So practice makes perfect. If you're out there practicing your storytelling, practicing using your gear, then you will have a better time on set and move a lot more efficiency, and then therefore you have more time and resources to just hone your craft. Now, my last tidbit of information why you're probably not growing as a filmmaker is because you spend all your money on the wrong thing, dog. To be honest, you have gas syndrome. Like you sit there and keep thinking that you buying a new camera, buying this camera is going to help you become a better filmmaker. Prime example, if you're buying the camera just to quote unquote get you inspired to go shoot something, then 9 times out of 10 that camera's not going to inspire you. You have to inspire you to go shoot something. That's the only way you're gonna get out. That's the only way you're gonna get out there and get better. Your gear does not make you want to go out and film something. At the end of the day, it's you. It's not like the camera's sitting here putting gas in your car, you know what I'm saying, and making you walk down the stairs to go shoot something. You have to be the one who's willing to put in the work and invest in time into yourself to get better at your craft. And you sitting here worrying about gear thinking like, hey, if I had this new camera, I'm gonna be a better filmmaker. That's not gonna happen. If you have this and that, that's just not how it works. For me, my rule of thumb is I buy gear, one, if a client can pay for it, if one client can pay for that piece of gear, or then two, if that gear is giving me problems, right? So if I have to replace that gear because this gear is no longer serving me and it's like impairing my efficiency, then I would actually buy a new piece of gear to replace that gear, right? But even like right now with the FX3, I've had this camera now for like a year and a half. I have an A7S III for like 4 years now, and I really don't see myself upgrading these cameras because I don't need to, right? Like, I don't really think what people have to realize, people are not sitting here upgrading cameras like that. There's a reason why FS7s, FX9s, Sony Venices, these are like quote unquote older cameras, and they're still being used on set. They're not sitting here grabbing a new camera every time it comes out, because you have to then learn that camera's workflow and its quirks. So if every time you're stepping outside, you have a new piece of gear, 9 times out of 10, you're not that efficient with it because you haven't had that much time with it. Stop focusing so much on buying new gear and thinking that you need certain tools to be a better filmmaker, when at the end of the day, the only way you're gonna be a better filmmaker is if you invest time into you and not into the gear. If you learn somewhere, if you feel like some of these points hit home, or maybe you even got a piece of advice that you give some of the community we have down in the comment section below, man, I wanna know, like, what are some of the things that you feel are hindering you from becoming a better filmmaker? With that being said, man, make sure y'all follow me everywhere again at Brookssmedia with 2 S's. If you don't have the S, you ain't spelling it right. Deuces.